Hello, my beautiful humans. Welcome to Thursday, May 14th. I'm here to take you guys through your daily WOD briefing. Let's go ahead and let's start with your warm-up. You guys have 2 rounds of a 30-second yoga squat hold, 25-foot lateral squat walk each way, 15 good mornings. Those are going to be traditional good mornings, not my good mornings. 10 bird dogs, total 30-second hollow hold, and then 30-second tight arch hold. Let's go ahead and talk about this. So guys, first of all, as we're going through your warm-up, I want you guys to think about what we're trying to work here, what muscles we're trying to turn on, because that's a whole part of a warm-up, is to get you moving, get you activated, and to get you guys sweating, all right? So think about those things as you guys go. Let's go ahead and start with your yoga squat hold. So you guys are going to be in a yoga squat stance, which just means we're going to be wider than our normal squat stance. So my feet are going to be here, all right? So just outside shoulder width distance, a little bit wider than that actually, and I'm going to push my hips back, and I'm going to push my knees out. I'm going to get down to the very bottom of that squat, and I'm going to use my elbows to help push my knees out. Now, I'm not just relying on my elbows to push my knees out, I'm also actively turning on my butt cheeks to help me push my knees out. So think about that as you guys are holding this for 30 seconds, all right? If you guys have a hard time getting down to parallel or below parallel with keeping your torso vertical, you guys can also find a wall to get against. So I'll use this as an example, this part right here. Again, feet are going to be in that wide squat stance, okay? I'm going to get down to the very bottom, and I can lean up against that, that post back here to keep my torso vertical on this position, all right? But again, I'm still using my knees to push, my butt cheeks to push those knees out, staying active for a full 30 seconds. Next, you guys have your lateral squat walk. Again, I'm trying to turn on my external rotators and my butt cheeks here. So I'm going to get into a squat stance, or just wider than a squat stance, okay? And I'm going to push my hips back. My toes are pointed out at a slight angle, and I'm pushing my knees out. Again, using my butt cheeks. I'm going to stay low, all right? And I don't want my feet to come any closer together than my squat stance. So if you're coming to here, you're coming too close together. So make sure as you guys are going, you guys stay just under or over squat width distance. Again, focusing on the push out of the knees, turning on your butt cheeks, all right? Next, you guys have your traditional good mornings. So with these guys, you can have your hands behind your back, or your neck, sorry. Feet are going to be set underneath your hips. You're going to have a slight bend to your knees, and you're going to push your hips back. I'm looking for you to keep your chest out, and we're going for a hip hinge here, all right? Those shoulders are going to stay above your hips. You're going to drive through your heels and come all the way back up. So once you guys feel the bottom of that range there, drive through your heels and come back up, okay? I'm looking for a stretch back in your hamstrings, all right? Try not to hold it for too long though at the bottom. We're just going to the bottom of that range of motion and then back up. Next, you guys have 10 bird dogs. These are going to be 10 total, so 5 each side. You're going to get onto your hands and knees. The purpose of this is to start firing up your core to keep you stable as you guys are doing those deadlifts. So we're going to be on our hands and knees. Knees are going to be set underneath your hips. Hands are going to be set under your shoulders. And you're going to lift opposite hand, opposite leg. We're going to reach up and out, okay? I'm using my butt cheek to squeeze and extend that leg back there. And I'm super active in my reach forward with my lats and my shoulders. Pulling my belly button back towards my spine, and then keeping everything square to the ground as I go. Making sure I don't open my shoulders or my hips up, okay? So be careful as you guys go through those. Focus on staying square, core staying tight, and a big reach and squeeze going both ways, okay? Next, you guys have that 30-second hollow hold. With this guy, arms are going to be extended behind your head. Belly button's pulled back towards your spine, feet are together, toes are pointed, quads are tight, and we're, again, pulling this lower part of our body towards the floor. The only thing in contact with the ground is my lower back, all right? My shoulders are up off the ground, chin is tucked to chest. If I need to scale, I can pull one knee into a pike hold. I can alternate as I start to get gassed, or I can come into a tuck hold. But again, that lower back is the only thing in contact with the floor all the way through those movements. Next, you guys have a tight arch hold. So you guys are going to be on the ground, okay? And we're going to squeeze our entire backside. Feet are together, arms are going to be extended in front of you, and you're going to pull your whole backside off and get as much of your body off the ground as possible. And we're going to be here for 30 seconds. All right? Okay, that's your warm-up for today. Let's go ahead, let's get into part one. So for part one today, you guys have 2 sets of 6 and then 3 sets of 4 of your sumo deadlift. All right, depending on what kind of weight you have to work with, you're going to either do a standard sumo deadlift or we're going to do tempo sumo deadlift. So for instance, I have my roommate's set of 25-pound dumbbells. I've got Ashley Abelson's 35, and then my 40-pound. I'm going to use my 40-pound for my sumo, but for me that's not super heavy. So I'm going to add a tempo to it to make it a little bit more challenging. Now if you have a barbell or you have heavier weights, do this as heavy as possible for those sets of 8 and sets of 6 and sets of 4 with whatever weight you guys have available. So let's go ahead and talk about the sumo deadlift. So first thing, sumo, it's referring to your stance. So we're going to think about being a sumo wrestler, and we're going to get wide. Okay? If you think you're wide, you're probably not wide enough. You want to go a little bit wider. But main thing here, guys, those toes need to be pointed out so that when I go to set up and I push my hips back and my chest stays up and out, I'm going to be pushing my knees out. Okay? I don't want to be so wide that my knees are caving in here. Okay? So make sure the knees stay out. You also want a slight slant to your shin. So my heel should not be directly underneath my knee. I do want that heel to be in front of my knee, okay? So think about that as you guys are getting set up for the sumo deadlift, okay? So feet are wide, toes are pointed out at a slight angle, shoulders are gonna be up, back, and then down, keeping my back locked in a nice straight position. Hips are gonna go back, and I'm gonna grab this dumbbell, okay? I can either go one-handed or I can go two-handed. It'll depend on the weight or what's comfortable for you guys. But let's go ahead and talk about that sumo deadlift. So I'm going to drive through my heels and I'm going to stand all the way up, okay? And then I'm going to come back down. So I'm going to push my hips back, keeping my chest up, my back straight. Again, dumbbell will touch the ground. I'll drive through my heel and stand all the way up. Main thing here, guys, is keeping the back straight, right? Well, obviously foot position matters, but keeping the back straight. So as you guys go, you want to maintain that neutral spine position, which means that you're not either overarching or rounding your back, okay? And I'm also focused on that constant push out of the knees, squeezing the butt cheeks and the hamstrings. Let's talk about that tempo. So for the tempo, you guys are going to be giving me a tempo on the way down. So if I go to do the tempo, I'm going to stand up and then come back down for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you guys are doing tempo, make sure the 5-second never increases or decreases, right? 5 seconds is consistent all the way through. If you guys have the option as well of raising your feet up off the ground, so maybe you have a couple plates you can stack. Well, I guess if you have plates, you're probably using a barbell, but maybe you guys have like a stool, you guys have 2 chairs, and you guys can get those feet elevated up off the ground. It's going to give you more clearance for your dumbbell, and it's going to give you a bigger range of motion for that sumo deadlift. So if you guys have the option to raise your feet up off the floor to get you a little bit of a deeper sumo deadlift than with just one head of the dumbbell touching the ground, okay? So that's part one. Make sure you guys are giving yourself about 2 minutes of rest between each set. Don't rush that 2 minutes. Your body needs it to help replenish its energy supply and help you hit that next set just as hard as you hit the first one. Let's go ahead and talk about part 2. So part 2 today, you guys have a workout called Fluorescent Light. You guys have 10 rounds of 10 sumo deadlifts, 10 hang power cleans, those are going to be on each side, and then 15 seated pike leg lifts over object. Okay, so your sumo deadlift, it's the exact same movement we did in part 1. Again, wide sumo stance, back stays straight. You're going to be feeling this back in the butt cheeks and also on the inner thighs as well. Then you guys have 10 hang power cleans. So on your hang power cleans, what that means is we're going to be pulling anywhere between top of the knee, top of the thigh, and we're going to be catching above parallel. So we're not going to be going into a squat today. You're going to give me 10 each side. So let's go talk about what that's going to look like. Feet are going to be set underneath your hips. So feet are facing forward, under my hips. I'm going to get a big dip, which just means my knees are going out and my torso stays vertical. So knees go out, torso stays vertical. I will then drive, shrug, my elbow will come high, and I'll catch that dumbbell on that shoulder in that front rack position. Okay? That's going to be your hang power clean. Make sure your back stays straight. Make sure you guys are using your hip and get that shrug in. Okay, as you guys start to get fatigued, the hip extension and the shrug is going to be a lifesaver. So keep that in mind as you guys get tired. Last but not least, you guys have your seated pike leg lifts over object. Okay, feet are going to be together, toes are going to be pointed, and I'm going to lift my legs up and over. Okay, making sure I keep those legs locked out and my quads tight. The farther forward I am, the harder these get. The farther back I am, the easier these get. So keep that in mind as you guys are going, okay? Make sure it's a quick touch and you come right back over. These are going to be each side. So one on the right, one on the left is equal to 1 rep. If you guys have any questions, feel free to comment below. This is probably going to be about a mid-workout. That's my greatest, most educated decision. Probably, or guess. It's somewhere between 12 and 20 minutes is going to be your time range here. So make sure you guys are picking weights you guys can move fluently with, okay? All right, guys, comment below if you guys have any questions. If you guys do the workout, post your times. We'd love to hear back from you guys and get some feedback. Have a wonderful rest of your Thursday, and I will see you guys back here tomorrow.